my dream has always been to sit at a chair in late night. I love that. It's like the dumbest dream of all because there's only four chairs and no one
Yeah,
ever leaves.
it's a big dream.
It's a big dream, but it's something I love. I love the magic of late night. And it's funny for you to remind me of that time because um, we're always just so focused on the present or trying to exist day to day, but so much has happened. You're right. I mean, Trevor left unexpectedly. He announced to the audience between Act 3 and 4 that he was leaving. He hadn't told anybody at the network, at the show.
That is crazy.
That was crazy. I was picking up my daughter at daycare and I was getting a text like Trevor just quit on air type thing. It was very wild. Um, and then we had that say goodbye to Trevor, celebrate his 6 or 7 years, whatever it was. Then we did this guest hosting thing where every celebrity came in and hosted,
Yeah, it basically turned it into SNL for a while. It was
turned
like
SNL
you
for a
guys had
while,
you
and we
guys
really
had
just,
celebrity guest hosts.
yeah, we really learned that so many celebrities can't read a teleprompter. And then we had the strike.
Yeah.
And so we were down for another 6 or 7 months. So it's been wild. And somehow Michael Costa kept his head above water. And through a wonderful uh, stroke of fate, I think hopefully hard work, also that I think people at the show know what I can do and seem to like me. They've elevated me to occasionally host, and it's like it's so fun. It is so fun. It's so hard. It's so challenging, but overall, it's just I love it. I love it.
Yeah, you're basically one of four regular rotating hosts, right? It's Jordan Klepper, Ronnie Chang, Desi Lydic. Jordan and Ronnie have been on this podcast multiple times. Now you have
Yeah.
as well. Desi has not graced us with
Okay.
her presence yet, so you got to work on that for me.
Okay. I'm sure
But
she
you're, I
will.
mean, you're all fantastic. And how does it work? So is it just sort of a rotating schedule, or and obviously Jon Stewart, we should mention hosts on Mondays. Don't forget about that.
Yeah. Don't forget John hosts on Mondays. It seems to be working really well. I mean, John comes in on Monday and jokingly always says that, you know, I'll see you guys next week. Or he always calls it getaway day because for
Yeah.
him, that's he then doesn't we don't see him for 6 days. Um, and then we pass the ball around in classic Daily Show format. Yeah, we have a little bit of a schedule where we know kind of who's coming up. One question people ask me is, "Oh, how do they tailor the show? Do they tailor the news for you guys?" It's like, no, it's just we just get the days, and then
Yeah, the
that's what
news is the news.
the news is the news. And also, I would be remiss to mention we won the Emmy for best late night, so it was rewarded. This kind of and this is big for executives. This is big for TV network people when they make a crazy decision and then it gets rewarded. This is big in
Hmm.
their world. Um, and it's very interesting commentary on late night. I mean, it is kind of wild that one person just runs the show year after year after year. And one of the very interesting pieces of feedback we get all the time is I really love how it bounces back and forth between different people. And that's good.
Yeah, no, it seems to be working really well. You're talking about the news and sort of how that plays out. It is very much a luck of the draw, one way or the other, on what news you get. You don't know until you show up that day.
Right.
So I thought we could kind of talk about last week because it was a big news week, and you're kind of thrown in there with the Trump threatening the tariffs, then it actually
Yeah.
happening, and the market
Yeah.
crashing, and all this stuff. So how do you sort of think about that? When you come in, you're looking at the news. Was last week an exciting week of news for you? Was it daunting? How did you think about it?
Yeah. It's interesting. Very rarely in the Daily Show do you get to like look back and go through it, right? Because there's the
Yeah.
next show coming up always. So just you asking me that is reminding me
Yeah. You're like,
Tuesday,
it's already gone. I've already moved on.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, and I remember now, Tuesday I was frustrated Tuesday. I came in, there wasn't a lot happening.
Hmm.
Um, you can't force the news, you can't like, and I remember being very much like, and I'm still only hosting enough that I want to be great every time, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
You
want
got
to
to
be,
stand out.
yeah, I want to stand out. So I think we're all feeling that way. I want to show everybody what I'm capable of every time. So I was a little bit like annoyed Tuesday because we didn't have much, and everyone kept saying, well, the tariffs are probably going to happen Wednesday. And we got through Tuesday. We did a good job. The show delivered. I think we always deliver a high mark. But then Wednesday came and it was like embarrassment of riches, you know?
Hmm.
So many things to cover, so many things to talk about. And then Thursday still more even. And that is what the Daily Show does well. It pivots and adjusts within the system. Jon Stewart always uses the word calibration. It calibrates wonderfully for the day, and then it recalibrates the next day. And I was very happy with my week. Also, we had a wonderful Act Two that was pre-produced ahead of time on Wednesday about Trump saying the word groceries.
Yes. I was going to ask you about that one.
Yeah, and
That was right in your sweet spot, I think.
that was right in my sweet spot. And um, that's an example of that wasn't necessarily the news, but another thing the Daily Show does well is they compile clips, knowing there's a segment idea there, knowing when tariffs hit or when Trump, even that day.
It was relevant that day. It ended up being even more relevant than you probably thought it was going to be.
100%. And it was like beautiful the way it worked out. And this is what I always have to remind myself as host. Like Tuesday, you're frustrated. And it's like, man, just relax. It's going to be okay. A thing is going to happen that's going to help you too. And Wednesday, he was in the Rose Garden giving his dumb tariff speech with the that bulletin board
Yeah.
he made. And then he said a grocery thing again. And it was like we were in the rewrite room and we're like, clip it, use it. And we threw it in within 20 minutes of him saying it. It's in the show that night. Um, so the headlines worked in my favor, but also, and this is a testament to the staff and to the producers and the writers, they had a prepared piece that we were kind of sitting on ready
Hmm.
for me, which is super helpful.
Yeah. I mean, that was so funny, the groceries thing. Is there, are there stories that come to you and it's like, we have to do this, but you think, oh, like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, is this what we have to talk about right now?
I mean, I can't speak on behalf of everybody else, but I was usually the one that was like, do we have to talk about Trump today?
Yeah.
I was very aware of Trump fatigue. And if we treat every little thing he does with so much gravitas, we're going to wear everybody out. The problem is now, for his second term, he is the president. Everything is important. And, if anything, I've had to adjust how I feel about it and say, look, we have to cover this. We have to cover this. But yeah, we have, if there's anything I don't want to talk about, they're very accommodating. I mean, it's like comedy. I mean, I'm only going to sell the joke if I believe in the joke.
Right. Yeah.
So, um, there was a story last week that the Doge cut the EPA's museum, and I cut it. I didn't know. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand if we had a museum. I didn't feel passionately about it. I think it's important. I'm a big advocate of the EPA. Anyone who's seen all my pieces on the Great Lakes knows I love the EPA. But I was like, I don't know what we're talking about here. We got to cut this, so we cut it.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's not, it can't just be what you are passionate about. It has to be something you are passionate about and can make funny, which is the
correct.
key.
Yeah, and sometimes, um, and this is a huge testament to Jon Stewart hosting for 16 years and Trevor Noah hosting for 7 years. There are times and days when you're not passionate about any of it,
Yeah.
but it's what the news is, and you got to do your job, and we do our job, and hopefully you never know those days.
On the upside, you have managed to come up with a catchphrase as a sometime host, which I'm impressed by.
I'm curious to hear if you know if which one you say.
It's got to be right, right, right?
right? Yes. Yeah.
How
I
did that come
sat the team
together?
down and I said, we got to come up with a Costa catchphrase. No, I just, so many of one of my favorite things to do on the show, one of my favorite Daily Show strategies, weapons, tropes, themes, is to say the thing and then throw to a clip that says the complete opposite thing. That is
Right.
just
Yeah.
beautiful all around late night TV. And we found in the rewrite room, which is really where we tailor the script to the individual host at its finest, at its most pinpointing calibration. I was saying that a lot. And I just finally kept saying, put that in, put that in. And then now what's great is they go, do you want to do it right here? And I go, yeah, yeah, I do. So thank you for noticing that.
Yeah. That thing of throwing to the clip that undercuts the thing you were just talking about. I mean, that's really what Jon Stewart perfected, I feel like,
Yeah,
in his time on the show.
yeah,
Um, what was your reaction when you found out that he was going to be coming back as host? Because I think we were all in the media and viewers of the show pretty shocked that that was happening. Didn't
yeah.
seem like something that was going to happen. From inside the show, what was that moment like when you found that out?
Yeah, it was surprising. It was told to us a few minutes before it was told to the world.
Oh, okay.
Um, and talking about the year up to that point, there was a lot of uncertainty with The Daily Show. Trevor
Yeah, I mean, there were
left,
moments where like people didn't think it was going to keep going, right?
correct. And then we were having these guest hosts, and some were great, and some were drunk, and some were, and we're all going like, is
Which
this
ones were
what it?
drunk?
I mean, some were just like not treating it as what we felt is a very important,
Yeah.
funny, coveted position.
They were kind of doing it
Um,
as a lark for a week and kind of
yeah, and
something to do.
yeah, and by the way, nobody was like mean or
Yeah.
terrible, but you're just going, man, like I grew up on this show. This show is like a foundation of who I am. Like, don't just half-ass this, please. Um, and and I think a lot of us felt that way, which is why I think, thankfully, the network finally said, these correspondents really give a shit about this show. Um, yeah, so there was a lot of uncertainty. There was a lot of uncertainty attached to the Daily Show. Trevor left, didn't know where we were headed. We took a long break. Then we had all these guest hosts coming in and out. Ratings were kind of like all over the place. Then we had the writer's strike. So besides being excited that I get to work with Jon and learn from him, we were happy that this show that had been on the air for 28 years was getting some form of a certainty medicine.
Hmm.
Not
Hmm.
that not that anything's ever certain, but we didn't think they were going to hire Jon and then cancel the show. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And then Jon
Um,
announced that we would be guest hosting, and he said my name, first and last name, and I said, "Holy shit, he even knows my name. This is fucking awesome."
yeah, because I mean, you came in under Trevor, so you never really got to work with John.
Yeah,
So now all of a sudden you're in the building with him and getting to
yeah.
see that up close. So what has that been like?
It's great. It's great. I mean, I'm always careful to not watch too much stand-up comedy because I never want it to rub off on me.
Hmm.
And with Jon, I'm like, I just want to learn. He's the smartest guy in the room, but then he'll also make like the dumbest dick joke. And I love how he does both of those. I love that he'll make such a brilliant point and then turn to camera two and like pretend like he's doing a fart or whatever. It's just that silly smart is what I loved about David Letterman and Steve Martin. And so I don't want to steal from him, but I'm
Hmm.
like, I gotta learn. And through osmosis alone, I want to try to try to get better and learn from him as much as I can. And he's very professorial at the show. He's got great ideas. He comes in enthused. He's kind to people. These are all good things to try to emulate.
Yeah, the thing that I feel like I've talked to so many correspondents over the years, and the thing that everyone comes back to with John is this idea of point of view and sort of being showing some of yourself, showing what you believe in through the comedy. Um, and it's this weird time for comedy and political comedy right now. I think everyone's like a little bit going forward, a little bit scared, a little bit not
Yeah,
sure what to do. I think the White House Correspondents Association firing Amber Ruffin
I
was a
know.
real bummer and bad sign in a lot of ways. So how are you feeling about all of that right now? Sort of, what are the risks of being a outspoken, passionate political comedian
Yeah.
right now?
My favorite Onion headline recently was Trump losing sleep over booking the Kennedy Center Summer Jazz
Yeah,
Series,
yeah,
or whatever it was. It was something
yeah,
like that. Um, I a tiny bit trepidatious, but there's a part, and forgive me if you've heard me say this before, but I have been saying it. There's a part of me that wonders if I and we are making jokes while the Titanic sinks, while Hitler's invading Poland. And there's also a part of me that can very optimistically appreciate that the Constitution is 270 years old. This is not the first egomaniac we've had as president. There are checks and balances. It doesn't always feel like they're working, but there are checks and balances. It's a pretty badass system. There have been judges that have checked his power. It's not as many as we everybody wants, but so like that's the space I'm trying to live in. But I feel more trepidatious than I did the first term for sure.
yeah. I mean, I've heard, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
those,
he's really exuding his power more than ever. And you see the arrest of these students and their visas taken away. And it's easy, especially for me as a white male American citizen, it's easy to go like, oh, they probably have a good reason, and I'm just a comedian. But it's like it's all connected, man. It's all tied
yeah.
to this First Amendment and free speech, and it's scary. It's a little
Yeah, and
scary.
we're still only a few months in, and so things, yeah,
Yeah,
do seem to be escalating. Yeah, I mean, I've
yeah,
heard comedians talk about how they're, too scared to talk about politics on stage right now. Even, someone like Nikki Glazer, who I think of as one of the bravest comedians out there, said that on the red carpet of the Conan O'Brien event at
right.
the Kennedy Center, which was a moment where people did make a lot of Trump jokes at the Kennedy Center,
Yeah,
notably not using his name, and sort of
right.
like they were like tough jokes, but also kind of dancing around the issue. No one like really went at it either, which was
Right.
interesting.
It's interesting. I am not afraid of that. And um, it's not to say I won't adjust that belief,
Hmm.
but the First Amendment is the First Amendment. It's the first thing they wrote down. Now, there are people in a El Salvadorian prison right now that are like, we didn't even see a judge, and there's been no due process followed at all. It seems like most of them don't even have criminal records that's going on. So it is scary, but as a comedian, it is my responsibility for as long as I can to try to make fun of who's in power.